Where are we at?
Yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good question. All right. Today is Daf Chav Ches.
Oh.
So we left off at the bottom of Chav Zayin with Beis the Mishnah. 3 lines from the bottom. Yeah. Good. And the way we go: Noidrin lahargin ulacharamin ulamoichsin she truma. Afal pishen truma. A person can make a nether to a person, a murderer, right? Someone who he's fearful for his life, he's going to kill him, right? He wants to take something from him. So a murderer or a thief or a muhsin, a tax collector, we'll soon explain that case. That this, you can't take this. Now, the guy is a murderer, a thief, and all that, but at least they respect Truma. Or very from. He respects Truma, right? I'll save the old jokes. Run out of time. Anyway, so he's a muhsin she Truma. So he swears that he doesn't want his property stolen. So he says, you could take this, but this is truma, belongs to the to Hektish, or excuse me, to Kohanim, right? You can't have it, you're not Kohen, right? And Alpi Shein Truma, even though it's not Truma, or Shein Shel Beis HaMelech, or it belongs to the king. I already donated their designates to the king or to the temple. Alpi Shein Shel Beis HaMelech. So basically, he's lying through a nether about these items that they don't belong to me. Here, you want to go? If it was mine, I'd let you steal it from me. But you got a little problem here, sir. So Beis Shammai Yomerim B'chol Noidrin. Beis Shammai says, I'm sorry?
I don't know.
Right, yeah. Right. So Beis Shammai says B'chol Noidrin. So everyone says, so Beis Shammai says, okay, you can make any nether as long as chutz meshua. Any sort of nether you want to make, that's fine as long as it's not shvua, because it says over there, like yanake. And Beis Hillel Yomerim af b'shvua. You can make a nether, you can make a shvua in order to go ahead and basically avoid this guy from strong arming you. Beis Shammai says you shouldn't go ahead and open up with the nether. It says this is truma, and I'll swear to you, right? I'll make a nether that it's truma. So Beis Shammai says you can't offer it, and only if the guy says make a nether that it's truma, then he can go ahead and make it. No, he's leaving allowed to open up. He says no, this is truma. I'll leave him make a nether. Beis Shammai says he can only swear. Once he's told he can swear, he can only swear that which he was told to swear, to swear on. Beis Hillel says, no, you can even add to it. Ketzad, what do you mean? What's the case? So he says, okay, this is true. He says, I'm telling you the truth, so he swear to me. So I even kaidem ishtin and asleep. So tell me, so forbid your wife from any hana, make an nether your wife from any hana from you, if this is indeed not truma. But Amar, and the guy answers, Kainaim ishti ubanai nanili. Okay, I'll make a nether that my wife can't get hana, even my sons can't get hana from me, if this is not truma. So Beis Shammai says, since he was meisif by that which the ganav, or whatever you want to call him, right, the hargin, the charamim, or the muhsin. So Beis Shammai ishto materis, his wife is mutter, because remember the other guy told swear, that you should swear about your wife, and he swore about his wife. So his wife is mutter. That nether is not chal. However, ubanav asurim. However, his sons are asur because he tacked that on. There was no need for that, and since he added on, so therefore now they're asur because the items weren't truma. Since a person is allowed to go ahead and add on, so therefore neither one of them are forbidden, and therefore they're both mutter.
Well, it sounds like another case where if you cancel out part of it, then the rest of it is.
But we didn't cancel out part of it. We didn't go back and mater miksaso, right? That was never chal to begin with, right? This is a distinction. The part on his wife, he is allowed to go ahead and make a nether if he's asked to make a nether upon the item. So he's allowed to make that nether, and that nether is not chal at all. So that nether was not chal at all. So it's not like we're being matir part of it, we should matir kulo, right? That part was never chal to begin with. Right. So it's a different case. Zok the Gemara. So he said, go ahead, you want to go ahead and lie about your taxes. I go my Shmuel, Dina the Mechus Dina. Understand, if they're going ahead and they're saying, okay, you got to go ahead and pay your taxes. So I don't understand. How could you go ahead and lie with your taxes? Some Rav Chinano, Amar Rav Kana, Amar Shmuel, two different terutzim. B'meichesh el kitzva, Perhaps it could be a meiches. There is no set amount. In other words, the guy has a certain budget to go ahead and fill, and he can go ahead and take this tax collector, who's a powerful individual, can go ahead and basically take from anybody. And therefore, since he can keep taking from you, so therefore it's like he's almost stealing.
Well, they used to do things to buy the position from the government.
Right.
They'd have to recoup their losses and then take everything back.
Right. So over here, but it wasn't a set amount that was set by the king. That's the point. So therefore, he can take as much. Yeah. And the Rabbi Yanai Amar b'meiches Amei Meilov, right? Someone who basically, he was not necessarily appointed, but he's a powerful person and he's collecting taxes also on that, and therefore he's not really dinim b'chus din in such a case. But no one's going to stop him, so therefore you're going to go. You're permitted to go ahead and make a neder that will not take place. Fine. So he said, "Shehein shel beis hamelech v'afishin shel beis hamelech." So he swears that they belong to the king, even though they don't belong to the king. So hey, another. What's the case? So Amar Rav Abram Amarav be'Omer Yesru Peiros ha'olam alai im eina shel beis hamelech, where he says, "Let the fruits be forbidden. All the fruits of the world be forbidden upon me, if does not belong to the king." So Kevin Amar Yesru. Once he says Yesru, they should be asked to him. He said, "Kol peri alma." Why doesn't that work, right? Why do we say in this case that he didn't have to go ahead and make such a neder that the aser all the fruits of the world upon him, right? So maybe it should work. So the Gemara concedes and says, "Einach enami." If a person would have said that, then he would be forbidden for all the fruits. So we're talking about B'Omer Hayya, where he says they're forbidden for me today. So what do you mean? That's not a good suggestion, because the guy says, if this belongs to the king, swear to me. Okay, all the fruits of the world are ushered to me today if these don't belong to the king. Okay, so not such a hard nether, so the guy's not going to accept it. He's not going to buy such an excuse. So B'Omer, rather, what is the scenario here? B'Omer, Belibo, in his heart, he's saying, Hayya. In his heart, he's thinking just today. And then what comes out of his mouth? He says, Yesru Peiros ha'olam, right? All the world's fruits, right? And he doesn't say forever, right? Even though normally we have a standard that Dvarim Shebelev does not count, and really it comes what comes out of your mouth. If you say all the fruits of the world are usher upon me, it should be all the fruits are usher upon me forever. But since in this case, special scenario, it's an eines, right? And in his heart, he's thinking, okay, they're only usher to me today. Therefore, the Gabi Eitzin Shani. In this case, it's a unique circumstance that we take Dvarim Shebelev into account. And l'chayra, right? I didn't see in the Ram, but l'chayra in this case, it means that he is usher from those items for the day, but he doesn't have to do it beyond then, because that was Dvarim Shebelev. In this case of the Gabi Eitzin, that we have a special heter to follow that, and therefore, as long as what his heart is thinking or his brain is thinking, it doesn't contradict that which comes out of his mouth, then it's okay. In other words, if he would have said all the fruits of the world are usher to me forever, even though he's thinking in his mind just today, that doesn't work. But if he says all the fruits of the world are usher to me, stam, and then in his mind he's saying just today, right? Fingers behind his back, cross, right? Just today, right? Then it would be okay, fine, 2 dots.
Because it's still a case of onsin.
Right. This case is right. Exactly. This is sort of a play off the previous Mishnah that basically a person was forced into, defending himself by making such an edit. Right.
So then, therefore, in this case, we will count
Dvarim
Shebelev,
as long as it doesn't contradict. Yeah.
If he's still talking to tax collectors, robbers, whatever, why does it even qualify? It's still the rest of the time. Shouldn't it even been for the day?
Right. Well, so Beis Hillel. So Beis
Hillel
Hillel is mechadesh that you're allowed to go ahead and offer to do it. Now, Beis Shammai is less of a chiddush, right? Beis Shammai is saying if they ask you to do it, then you can do it. Then it's okay. Then it's in the category of einsid. But Beis Hillel is more mechudesh dik that says you can even swear to him. Right. So you have another joke. Right, and it doesn't. Right, exactly.
Okay.
So let's see. So Beis Shammai says now we call for the Mishnah. Beis Shammai Yomrim b'meshu madiro. Beis Hillel Yomrim af b'sheina madiro. So So Beis Shammai says he's only permitted to make a nether, that which he's asked to do. Beis Hillel says no, he can even tack on to that. Kate said, right? Swear to me that your wife should be also to get any hana. You should say that your wife should be forbidden to get any hana from you. Ba'amar, and he says, Kai name, Ishti Ubonai. He says, not only my wife, but even my sons. And Beis Shammai Ayrim, Ishto Motera, Subana Vasurim. The Gabi, his wife, she's mutter. However, his sons, because he was never told to go ahead and swear about his sons, they are usher. And Beis Hillel Ayrim, Elu ve'elu mutar. Beis Hillel says, no, they're both mutter because a person's allowed to be neither even more.
Is this a brisa or just a repeat of the?
So that was a quote from the. I think that was a quote from the Mishnah. Yeah. Yeah, because there is a v'chule and then it goes on to the next part. Yeah. So I was actually looking for the two dots there and I didn't. Right. So Amar Rav Huna Tana. Speaking of a brisa, so Tana Beis Shammai Oimrim lo yiftach lo b'shvua. Beis Shammai says he shouldn't go ahead and initiate with him a shvua. Beis Hillel Oimrim af yiftach lo b'shvua. You can even go ahead and offer a shvua. So the Beis Shammai, according to Beis Shammai, now we're going to make a couple limudim from here. The Beis Shammai, I understand, but shvua lo yiftach lo, so he can't go ahead and initiate the shvua. But nether yiftach, but it sounds like a shvua you can't initiate, but you could initiate a nether according to Beis Shammai. Our Mishnah says Beis Shammai yiftach lo b'neder. Our Mishnah says counter to that, or it says opposite. And furthermore, it sounds like he can't open up with a shvua. Neither another b'shvua. But it sounds like if he was asked to make a shvua, he could make a shvua. We learned right the top line of today's daf. Beis Shammai Oimrim b'chol noidrin chutz mishvua. You can make a nether, except for a shvua. You cannot make a shvua, even if you're asked to make a shvua. You can't make a false shvua according to Beis Shammai because shvua is a more chamor. So, two teretz. So, the first teretz is Tanam Masnisin b'neder l'adir kachen de Beis Shammai. So, our Mishnah wanted to go ahead and show the strength of Beis Shammai. It says even in the case of a nether, right? You can't go ahead and initiate a nether. And Tana Bryce, but don't look more into that. And Tana Bryce, and the Bryce want to teach the strength of a shvua according to Beis Hillel that a person can even initiate a shvua. So basically, they argue across the spectrum, right? Beis Shammai says you can never make a shvua, and you can only do a neder if it's initiated upon you. And Beis Hillel says you could make any sort of neder and any sort of shvua, even if you initiate. Fine. And Rav Ashi Amar Hachitani, Rav Ashi says, no, that price is something completely else. It's referring to whether a person can be shayal as shvua. Right? In other words, yiftach la shvua is not talking about, in the case of Einstein, it's a completely different case. Basically saying that it comes to shvuas, a person can't be shayal, can't be to go ahead to a chacham and a shvua. That a person makes a shvua and he regrets, or for whatever reason, unforeseen or something, that he has a Pesach, he's allowed to go ahead to a Beis Din to perhaps have that shvua lifted from upon him. Fine. Naya Mishnah. Bottom of the page. Now, actually, it's very the reading of the Mishnah is actually not really like the explanation of how it's explained. So but let's go ahead and read the Mishnah. Harei netiyos ha'elu karban in eina niktatzas. A person says these netiyos, these young trees, these saplings, are karban. Basically, they're hektish. Im eina niktatzas. If they're not cut down. If they're not cut down, then they become hektish. Or, he says, tali zakarban. So let's see. So tali zakarban. This garment, talis is a carbon, is hektish. Im eina nisrefes. If it doesn't get burned. Yesh lahem pidya. So the kedusha, it definitely does become hektish. All right. And there is some sort of pidya. We'll soon see when, here, where, why. I think it'll continue into tomorrow's daf. But yesh lem pidya. A person can go ahead and redeem it. Something is hektish, you can go ahead and redeem it for that money to basically remove its kedusha. But now the kedusha is in the money. It's worth $100, so he takes $100, and now the kedusha is in the money. So yesh lem pidya. You can go ahead and redeem it. Harei netiyas. Now, next case. That was the ratio. Seifa. Hare netios ha'elu carbon ad shiktasu. These saplings are kedusha, are carbon, until they're cut down. Or talis zo carbon ashitisarif. Or this talis is a carbon, is kedusha, is hektish, until it's burnt. Ain, turn the pages, right? Ain lehem pidyon. There is no pidyon. Right? There is no pidyon. Now, we're going to soon see what this means. Does it mean there's no kedusha to it? It doesn't work at all? Or does it mean that it has to do something that, whether one is required, to go ahead and redeem it or not? We'll soon see in the Gemara. So first of all, Zak the Gemara, top line, base. I release the kedushas, Spain the kedushas. Why don't you just say, understand, if your whole halach is whether it's a valid neder or not, so just say, hektish, it's kedusha. Why do you got to go into yesh and pidyon or einlan pidyon? Why do you use that lashon? So I have listened to kedusha and einlan kedushas. So my answer is I did the bailam in the seifa. Since you want to say the seifa einlan pidyon, there is no pidyon. Well, also we have to explain what that means. So therefore, yesh and pidyon finds einlan pidyon. So Tana Marisha yesh and pidyon. Therefore, the Marisha, even though we could have said kedusha, nevertheless we said they have pidyon. Now, heichi nodar. What is the case? What is the understanding of the case in the Mishnah? So Amar Meimar B'Omer Im Eina Niktzotzes Hayayim. It doesn't mean to say, right, that if there's never, if they're never cut down, they're hektish, because every tree comes down. There's no tree ever in the history of the world that's still standing. That's been standing forever and will stand forever. That doesn't exist, right? So every tree falls down. So then, therefore, the kedusha shouldn't be there, right? If the lashon was. This is right. So harena tiasayla karban im eina niktzotzos. But it doesn't say as long as it's standing. Im eina niktzotzos. This is kedusha as long as it's never cut down, as long as it doesn't fall. So rather, what's the case? And then the day passes by. It was not cut down. It did not fall down. So therefore, it's hektish. If so, why? What's the case? Sheet, that's pashut. What is a pashut case? A simple case. If these trees, if these trees don't fall down today, they become hektish. So they didn't fall down today, so hektish. So now, like tzricha kigoyin diika zika nefisha. It's very windy. It's very windy, and he expects it to fall down. The guy is basically saying, if this tree somehow survives this wind, it'll become hektish. I'm going to donate to the mikdash. So what do you mean? Right? So I understand a wind, it's likely to, knock down a tree, makes sense. So what's the case of a talus? So talus it's supposed to burn, right? It's burned today. So yeah, you're going to eat the lake, right? There's a fire, right? The town's on fire, and he has the talus in the shoal, whatever. There's a fire there, and he says, if it doesn't burn, it's hektish. So the right? So just similar to the case of the Visha. And so the half mean is that you would have thought that since in his mind it wasn't going to be saved. So he said he didn't think in his wildest dreams that the talus would survive, that the tree would survive the wind, and therefore he made the nether, but he didn't really think it would be chal, and therefore maybe there's a way that's not hektish. Kamash one, it is fine. Let's just do a couple more lines, just to the bottom, and now it's the last word of the line. So he says, now what is the case of the sefer? So we said over there, he says, these trees are carbon until they're cut. This talus is carbon, is hektish, right? Until it burns. Eilan pidyon. So what does it mean? Right? Doesn't mean they can never be redeemed. So two opinions. Some are pada. Padin chayzos v'kodshos, padin chayzos v'kodshos, ad shiktzatsu. No, he says these are hektish until, let's go to the case of the tree, until it's cut down. So it's hektish until it's cut down, right? So right now it's hektish. So he says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and redeem it today. It was worth $100, it's $100. But the minute he redeems it, the kedusha averts back. And now it's kedusha again. So he keeps on, he keeps on, right, being paid it, but it automatically goes back, right? And until he cuts it. Once he cuts it, then he can redeem it once, one last time, and then it's done because it's no longer standing, right? As long as it's standing, it's hektish. So every time he redeemed it, still standing, hektish, still standing. Once he cuts it down, you still have to redeem it. And Ula Amar Kevan Shinsatsu Shuvein Paidim. Ula says, no, by cutting it down, you don't have to go ahead. Elam Pidon means that once it's cut down, you don't need to redeem it anymore. There's no longer kedusha to it, and therefore you don't have to go ahead and redeem it. And tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, we'll get more into this machlekes. Everyone have a wonderful day and enjoy the beautiful weather.